Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Clee Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, a fundraising trek from Amherst to Northampton to make our music scene and venues stronger with Miles for Music.
Plus, incredible storyteller Muriel Johnson, who'll weave three tales together for a one-night-only performance at APE Gallery in Northampton this weekend.
But first, it's Thursday, so we're checking in with Congressman Jim McGovern amidst his congressional break.
After a quick check-in with your head.
What's wrong with my head?
I got this as a sample with some makeup. I feel like you should just use it.
What is it?
Sunscreen. It's like a very lightweight sunscreen.
Use it every day?
Like ladies use sunscreen on their face every day. I mean on your head.
Well, unfortunately, Jim McGovern's calling, so we can't have this conversation. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Good.
You bored with this long break from Congress?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been getting around the district, and we're going to drive to the Cape for a long weekend today. So
Well, that's good. You're making viral videos like reading those mean tweets, which I actually thought was pretty hilarious.
Jack Can says, "Get yourself a toupee with some brains in it." Oh boy, that's original. I really don't have many words to respond to that, but I'm holding up a finger. Maybe you can guess which one it is.
Well, you have to have fun, otherwise it'll drive you crazy. So,
Time for our weekly check-in with U.S. Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts, the ranking member of the Rules Committee, Congressman Jim McGovern, in a segment I call McGoverning with McGovern. This week, it was announced that there is disaster relief on the way for some local farms. $42 million in federal disaster relief that was secured back in December of 2024, finally heading to Massachusetts farmers, coming from a $220 million New England Disaster Block Grant program written by you and a congresswoman from Connecticut, Rosa DeLauro. I know you talked with my NEPM colleague Nirvani Williams about this earlier this week, but what took so long to get this money to our local farmers?
well, that's a good question. We have to ask Donald Trump that question. This should have gone out immediately. I mean, Congress passed it. It was sent to the administration. The instructions were clear, but it took forever for this administration to develop the criteria and just the all that needs to be done just to get it out. This was not a priority of theirs, and it's frustrating because, as you mentioned, I mean, the disaster was a while ago, and farmers took a pretty big hit when the Connecticut River overflowed, and plus the winter was particularly harsh, and so they should have been compensated immediately. They weren't, but better late than never. And the state is now in charge of kind of administering all these funds, and I trust that they will act in a more expeditious way, and hopefully people who need help will get it. And look, farms are an important part of our economy here in Massachusetts, and sometimes people, especially who don't live in Western Mass, take that for granted. But
are you listening to me, Jim and Marjorie? Jim and Marjorie were making fun of our agro-tourism industry, and Senator Jo Comerford was not having that. She called me with her hair on fire.
Well, I'm sorry. I like Jim and Marjorie. Next time I get on their show, I'm going to have to scold them for doing that.
You should.
But it's also the important part of protecting our environment. But I visited many of those farms that were adversely impacted. Jo Comerford did too. Natalie Blade did. I mean, Lindsay Sabadoza. The whole delegation did, and it was pretty severe. And again, a lot of these farms, are not. Well, none of them are corporate farms. They don't make gazillions of dollars a year. And so when a natural disaster like the one that hit Massachusetts back then happens, it's devastating. And again, the federal government has a responsibility to step up. Look, I'm glad that it's finally happening, and we just want to get the money out as quickly as possible.
And so the state will take applications from farmers and reimburse them. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's how it'll work. This week in electoral politics, primaries, all eyes are on Michigan. The Huffington Post saying Michigan State Assemblyman and Democratic Socialist Donovan McKinney defeated Representative Sheri Thander in the Democratic primary for Michigan's 13th district. And then establishment Senate Democrats who backed Representative Haley Stevens, a largely AIPAC-funded moderate in the party's primary race for Michigan Senate, are now getting behind the opponent, Abdul al-Sayed, after that progressive's close win that a pro-Palestinian group says is a rebuke of the Israeli lobby in the U.S. Trump saying it's great news for the Republican Party and called the Muslim progressive a communist loser who hates Jews and Israel. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, warned that the country's being overrun by mini Mamdanis. The New York Times today saying moderate Democrats prepare for, quote, war against an ascendant left. What's your take on this rise of democratic socialism within the Democratic Party?
Well, first of all, Abdul al-Sayed does not identify as a socialist. But his politics are to the left. I interpret these elections not as left versus right. I interpret them as people saying, we've had it. We've had it from the Republicans, and we've had it from the Democratic establishment. Life is hard. People are working harder than ever, but things are less affordable. Groceries is through the roof. Gas is through the roof. Rent is through the roof. People aren't going on vacations. People don't know where they can help their kids go on to college. I mean, I could go on and on and on. People want their lives to improve. The healthcare system is broken. It's too expensive. People are not getting the care that they want, so they want to change. And El Sayed and some others who have won or who have come close to winning have basically said, look, elect us and we're going to shake things up. We're going to talk not just about how we manage these problems, we're going to talk about how you solve these problems. And I think that that's the message here. People are watching what's going on right now in Washington. They're seeing Donald Trump and his family and his close-knit group around him getting rich off the presidency while they are having trouble paying their bills. People are furious, and they just want to change. And I think that's what you saw in Michigan. Look, Haley Stevens, I know her. I don't agree with her on everything. She's a good person, and I give her credit for immediately endorsing El Sayed when the primary was over with. I think that is important. I think when these primaries are over, we have to come together and we have to unite, because we can't get anything done if we don't take control of the House or the Senate or both, and we can't take Donald Trump on if we don't have control of the House or the Senate. So I think that was an important step that she took, and I appreciate that. But I think it's exciting, and I think this idea that all these talking heads are, they don't know what to do about all this, and the fact that Trump is giving speeches about communism and Bolsheviks and stuff like that tells you one thing: he's scared. He wants to do everything he can to take the focus off of the issue of affordability and off the issue of what a just foreign policy should be. And he wants people to be distracted. And we just can't let him get away with that.
Well, the wars that the United States is involved with continue, including in Iran. There is no end in sight for that as well. And meanwhile, it seems like we have a depleted missile stockpile, despite the fact that one of the largest pieces of the budget year after year is to support the military-industrial complex. Reuters is reporting that key stockpiles of precision strike missiles and the Army tactical missile system have, quote, virtually all been used up. What are you hearing about the U.S. stockpile, and are we in more danger now because we don't have these missiles?
Look, we're in more danger because what we have done has made the Middle East less secure, more volatile, and more chaotic. And when I hear, the crocodile tears come out of the Pentagon that we need more money, Congress just approved, I didn't vote for it, but the Congress just approved a defense budget that we all added together is like $1.6 trillion. I mean, come on. This is crazy. I don't know where all this money goes, but the bottom line is, we are less secure because of these wars, because we're retreating from supporting any kind of principles of human rights around the world. We're embracing every tin-horn dictator in the world. And again, it's all about money for Donald Trump and his family and his associates. But that's what makes us less secure. I mean, we need to be a leader for peace in the world, not for war. And, we need to be a force to help stabilize some of these difficult situations and not aggravate them. This war, it was a war of choice. It was unnecessary, and it was illegal. And, I would remind people that the Strait of Hormuz was open before the war began. It is now closed. And not only that, now you have other factions in the Middle East, like the Houthis, trying to shut down access to the Red Sea. So none of this was happening before Donald Trump started this war. It's now happening now. So that is why we're less secure.
If there was a vote to appropriate more money to build more of this stockpile back up, including the Patriot missile, which Ukraine has been using to try to fend off Russia's attacks, would you be in support of that?
No, what are they doing with the $1.6 trillion that they have? Why do we need to add another appropriation? I mean, come on. The defense budget is out of control. Let's think about this. I mean, we're spending close to $100 billion in Iran, bombing elementary schools. Maybe we should spend $100 billion building elementary schools here in the United States. We have choices. And just because Donald Trump has been reckless and stupid, it doesn't mean that we need to double down on doing, quite frankly, what has not served our national security interests for decades.
This week, yesterday actually, temporary protected status, TPS, for over 350,000 Haitian immigrants living in the U.S. came to a formal end after the Supreme Court's decision. You do have some large populations of Haitian folks living in your district, including in Worcester and in Greenfield. Is your office intervening on their behalf in any way?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting lots of calls, and we've been working with the Haitian community, quite frankly, even before this. I mean, they're a vital part of our community. I'm thrilled that they're here, and they're an important part of our workforce, especially in the area of healthcare. So, I mean, that's causing all kinds of problems as well. We are working with them, trying to figure out ways to make sure that they can take advantage of every opportunity possible to stay here. The hope is that if we get a Congress that is more reasonable, we can reinstate TPS for Haitians. But what the administration has done is cruel. If you go to the State Department's website and you look up Haiti, the State Department rates it as a very dangerous place to go. The idea that we are sending people back to a place that the State Department says is a very dangerous place, I think is particularly cruel.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, this is more of a Senate issue as they're the only chamber at work right now, and it's looking like they're not going home anytime soon. Politico reporting that the agriculture chair, Republican John Boozman, is making moves to try to attract Democratic support for his farm bill proposal, but hasn't won that support yet. It's jeopardizing the package's chance of advancing out of committee today. He needs Democratic support to advance it to the Senate floor because of the mysterious disappearance of Senator Mitch McConnell. The proposals, though, are saying that there would be a 1-year delay of state cost sharing for SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and a key ethanol provision to appeal to more of moderates. What do you think about those two proposals? A delay in the state cost sharing? We're already having tons of trouble in Massachusetts with the Department of Transitional Assistance and the funding of that. What about this proposal? Would that attract you to want to support this farm bill?
Look, I would support a delay, but I want a reversal of those cuts. I mean, again, we're talking about a delay in the implementation of $200 billion in cuts to SNAP. So, yeah, you need to push it down a little bit farther down. I'm all for. But I haven't seen all the stuff that is in his bill, and I understand that Senator Klobuchar said that she would vote against the bill. So that means I think it's dead. Mm-hmm. We need a farm bill that supports our farmers, that also supports programs like SNAP. Hunger is getting worse in this country. Over 50 million people in this country are hungry. And because of the changes in SNAP that the administration has made, the Trump administration, people are already losing their benefits, including children. And that's happening here in Massachusetts. And we have an additional problem in the state, and that is the Department of Transitional Assistance does not seem to have the staff to be able to help administer the program. We're told that people are not getting their phone calls returned, that there's not enough people there to process all the applications or the renewals, and as a result, people who are eligible are losing their benefits. So this is a mess, and there needs to be more focus at not only at the federal level, but also at the state level to solving this.
I'll just shamelessly plug that if you're interested in the state level look at this, I'm going to be moderating a debate for the open seat in the 1st Franklin District that is being put on by both CISA, Community Involved in Sustaining Agriculture, and the Food Bank of Western Mass to talk about the issues surrounding both agriculture and hunger in the 1st Franklin District. That's coming up on Tuesday in Shelburne Falls. This is a listener question for you, Congressman McGovern, from Mark Walterbeek. He says, I, like the entire populace of the 413 Valley, am shocked at the grotesque and craven profiteering which the office of POTUS is engaged in under Donald Trump. It is an obscene and gargantuan enterprise. So my question to you is, and this is in all caps, why is nothing being done to stop the debasement of the country's highest office, and what can be done? He continues, a follow-on question is it illegal to create crises in the international oil markets and profit from the attendant price gyrations? Is it legal to use the office of the presidency to sell meme coins with Trump's likeness and title? Thank you for your wisdom, and thank you for your constancy in appearing week after week on NEPM. Your appearance is the highlight of the fabulous 413. Well, thank you, Mark. What's your take on Mark's question?
Well, I personally believe it is illegal, or should be illegal. Again, this fleecing of the American taxpayer by the President of the United States, and all these sweetheart deals with foreign countries that he's making are grotesque. There's a report out that Senator Wyden just did about the deals he's making with, like the vaping companies to eliminate federal regulations in exchange for them to write out big checks to the MAGA PAC and to other Trump interests. I think this is corruption, plain and simple. And one of the reasons why I hope Democrats win back at least one, if not both, of the chambers is because then we have the power to do oversight. We have the power to elevate this stuff, and we have power to legislate. And the Republicans, at at this point have refused to do any oversight on any of this. And when asked about this, they just kind of roll their eyes and say, well, we have no comment. We're at a very dangerous point. I gave a speech on the House floor a few weeks ago, basically saying that the Republican Party is dead. That what is happening right now is we are lurching toward fascism in this country. And I don't say that lightly, but part of the affordability crisis is the fact that, you have a small group of people in charge who are picking favorites in terms of businesses and making all kinds of money and basically screwing over everybody else. I don't know of any other president that's ever even tried to do this. And he's doing it, and he's getting away with it because, quite frankly, Congress is not doing its job. And by the way, the media needs to do a better job of documenting this. And I get it. He says 1,000 different crazy things a day, so it's hard to focus in on just one thing. But if we can take control of one of the chambers, I can guarantee you that there'll be oversight and there'll be accountability.
Congressman Jim McGovern, what's giving you hope this week?
Well, last night in Worcester, I went out to visit this group called the Boston Bulldogs, and it's really kind of a neat organization that works with people who are in recovery from alcohol or substance abuse addiction issues, and they gather once a week to walk or to run and to just support each other. And they were at Lake Quinsigamond in Worcester yesterday, and I met with them last night and took a walk. And I said to them, this is what community is supposed to look like, where people come together and support each other, and where everybody believes that everybody's important and everybody should be valued, and, we should be there to support one another. And I thought it was hopeful. I had a really nice night last night with them.
U.S. Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts joins us each Thursday. You can send a question for the congressman to us, and I'll ask him on your behalf. The Fab 413 at nepm.org. Thanks so much, Congressman McGovern.
All the best.
On the way, walking, running, or even relaying from Amherst and Northampton to support beloved music venues and the scenes they support with the Drake, the Iron Horse, and the upcoming Miles for Music fundraiser.
After a taste of the many yarns, Muriel Monique Johnson will spin for her performance of Fredella May's Daughter is a Storyteller at APE Gallery in Northampton on August 8th.
You're listening to The Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Visiting Angels West Springfield, providing home care for seniors and veterans in Hampden County, including Angel Care, short-term post-surgery support for seniors and their loved ones. visitingangels.com/West Springfield.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. Muriel Monique Johnson was born and raised in Salisbury, Maryland. She grew up in a home where language and storytelling were celebrated. Raised by a teacher and storyteller, Muriel in turn also evolved into those professions, instinctively passing on the same gifts of language and wonder that her mother had shared with her.
As a young adult, Muriel moved to California, where she built a life, raised children, and taught at a Reggio Emilia-inspired school for over 25 years, while also honing her craft as a professional storyteller. Muriel has performed at schools, universities, colleges, churches, theaters, festivals, and countless other venues from Wyoming to West Africa.
Muriel is an adept and passionate early childhood educator and teaches workshops for students, parents, and educators alike, helping them bring out the storyteller within. In 2021, Muriel added author to her repertoire with the publication of her first children's book, We Sing Like This.
And this Saturday, August 8th, you've got a one-night-only chance to take in Muriel's fables, tales, and allegories at APE Gallery in Northampton for a performance titled Fredella May's Daughter is a Storyteller, which explores 3 powerful, emotionally charged tales woven together with poetry, interludes, and short personal narratives. Thank you so much for joining us, Muriel.
Thank you for having me. What an introduction. There's nothing else I need to say. That's a mic drop. I was like, well, damn.
Well, I'm curious to know more about Fredella May. The title of the production is named after who I'm assuming is the storyteller we referenced in your mother.
Yes, my mother. And also, I was raised by my mother and father. Mm-hmm. I'm actually mostly my father. My mother died when I was 5. She used to sing to me and read to me and tell me stories. And I didn't realize how much it had impacted me. Of course, it was a childhood memory, but then when I became a mother and then a early childhood educator, working with preschoolers, that kind of came out of me I guess I'd learned it as a way of nurturing. That's how you relate to young children. I would sing to them and read to them and tell them stories. Once I came into motherhood, it occurred to me like, oh, this came from my mom. I hadn't consciously realized that she had given that to me, but she had, which is pretty amazing because it was such a short amount of time with her. And that's why early childhood is so important.
Yeah. 5 is not a time where you have really hard and solid memories of anything. So was there a moment where something happened where you realized, oh, this came from my mother that maybe you didn't even realize was in there?
Yeah, actually, I was at San Francisco State University. I'm giving a workshop to college students, and they were in a graduate program to become teachers. And they had asked me, oh, did you study theater? Like, how did you come to do this? And something just washed over me. And I'd already been storytelling for probably about 10 years then. And I started crying in front of the students. And the professor's like, you need a minute? And she's like, okay, everyone break, come back in 10 minutes. And she's like, Muriel, what's going on? What's happening? I said, oh my gosh, my mom, it's from my mother. And it was so just incredible that I had that epiphany after all that time.
It really put it in line for you.
It really did. I got myself together, continued the workshop, but there was that moment.
Are there significant ways that you tell stories differently to audiences depending on age?
Absolutely. I mean, with children, you want to have young children, you'll have a lot of repetition in it. So that's kind of the hook. It brings them in, helps them to build their listening skills. They're anticipating what's going to happen next. I might have a lot more music in it and singing and reframes. So the pacing will be different and there'll be more musicality. With teenagers, who can be a little intimidating to tell too. You got to be on your game because
that's real.
You come into the assembly and they're just like slumped in their seat. They're happy that they're going to get out of class and get to talk to each other. So you have to really bring it. And with those students, I like to tell obviously more sophisticated stories with something that has a little more grit to it, things that they relate to like justice and injustice, even violence, things that they might be experiencing and trying to process in their lives. With young children, I might tell more stories that are folktales that involve animals. But teenagers, I really like to, in a way, they're my favorite audience because they can be the hardest. And then when I hook them in and they're leaned forward and they're not slumped back, then I'm like, oh yeah, I got you now. It's very satisfying.
We're speaking with storyteller Muriel Johnson, who will be at the APE Gallery in Northampton one night only to hear these stories entitled Fridella May's Daughter is a Storyteller. It's 3 stories kind of woven together. Can you give us a glimpse of those stories?
Mm-hmm. So it's really an honor to my ancestors, my mom and dad, and my grandparents, who I feel like are always with me. One of the stories is a story it's rooted in West Africa, but stories take many journeys and you don't know exactly where it originated, but its roots in Haiti, West Africa, and even the Black American South. You can find versions of this story. This particular version, my adapted version, is a little girl who, I don't want to tell too much, but she loses her mother, so I obviously identify with that.
Yeah.
And so you'll see there are lots of parallels because I interweave like kind of poetry and personal narrative, and then you'll see that there's parallels to the actual folktales of my real life. So she loses her mother, she lives with her father, and even though her mother's not there, she communicates with her kind of from the grave and kind of helps her survive the challenges of not having a mother. And then she gets a stepmother, and it's the mean stepmother trope. I'm sorry to stepmothers out there. I know you're not all bad. It's just the way folktales are. From Cinderella, there's
not your fault.
It's not my fault. And so,
it's like if you have a set of parents and one of them is not related to you by blood, one of them is negligent and the other one is evil.
Yes,
that's just how it goes.
It's just how it goes. So she's trying to deal with her stepmother who is not kind, and she gets supported from her mother from the grave. Another tale, it's a scary tale. Yes. It's a scary tale from the Gullah Geechee people. Yeah. And you have not heard a version like my version. It's the Boo Hag.
Oh,
yes,
all right.
Yes. And it's for grown folks. By the way, this is not a children's event. It's 16 and up. So that's the Boo Hag. So just respect to the Gullah Geechee people and their gift of storytelling. It is a scary tale. Then I take a big leap and I touch Zora Neale Hurston's story. Zora Neale Hurston is a little bit like You know how if somebody says they're going to sing a Whitney Houston song, you're like, oh, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Like, don't even try.
Although I'm going to pause right here and say when Jennifer Hudson sang the national anthem at the World Cup finals, it destroyed me. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now. And I hate that song.
Yes.
Because our national anthem is stupid.
Yes, but Whitney Houston's version is the one version that I like. And then
Yes.
when she did that, I was like, oh my God, she nailed it.
Yes. So just how Whitney and Jennifer Hudson are people who, you don't want to touch their songs. Zora Neale Hurston is that for me. She's an incredible writer, anthropologist, but I adapted one of her short stories, which is called John Redding Goes to Sea. It's a beautiful, tragic journey about family relationship and being someone who dreams, but the people don't understand you're dreaming. They want to keep you close because they love you, but they don't realize they're oppressing you because they don't understand your dream, which is something else that I can relate to a little bit. My mother died when I was young. My father raised me and my sister. He loved us deeply, but he had a lot of fear around us. He's raising 2 girls by himself, And so he instilled a lot of, I'd say, kind of fear of the world, and it projected that. And I was someone who was a little bit wild. I was like, I want to see everything. I want to go everywhere. And so I did. This particular story, it's a story that I relate to, but I did not have a tragic ending, but there was a tragic ending in this one.
What in your storytelling informs some of your other ventures? Like, what about storytelling made educating easier? And what about storytelling comes out in your visual art? Because you also do visual art. You just came back from being in a show in Sag Harbor.
Oh, well, storytelling is so educational. I don't know, have you ever had a professor or teacher that told you stories? Those are the things that engage you. Those are the human connections, Storytelling is so powerful. It is the oldest form of education of every culture, every ethnic group, since the beginning of time. And it is the most effective way to educate people. They remember it, they feel it. It's this human connection. They identify with the characters. It affirms them. You remember it in a different way. You remember it in your bones. It means something than someone just going over statistics. And, like history class was very painful to me, and I love history. And I had a teacher, I think I was in 5th grade. He was just a goofy, incredible storyteller, though. He would go on and on and on, and you're like, where are you going? What's happening, And that's how he taught history. And I don't think he considered himself a storyteller, but he loved history. He was really nerdy about it. But he told stories that made it alive. That's what storytelling does. It brings stories alive and off the page. That's how I use it as an educator.
How about your visual art?
Oh, my visual art. So my medium is butterfly wings, which is an unusual medium. I'll tell you the story of how I came to that. I guess about 7 years ago now. I had a best friend, Leah Thomas, bless her heart. We were living in Oakland. She was my girl, and she got pancreatic cancer. We didn't really talk about it. I was just with her all the time. I'd take her to chemo, and we'd hang out together. And, we knew what was happening. It was a death sentence. And one day she said, girl, I don't think I can curse.
We can bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
She said, girl, am I dying? And I couldn't answer it because how do you answer your close friend and say yes? And so I just started crying, and we both were crying. And I said, God, I'm going to miss you so much. And she said, you know what? I'm going to come back as a butterfly. She loved butterflies. And so I was like, bet, okay. And then we didn't talk about it. And she died about 8 months later. I was with her. I was there by her side when she passed with her 3 daughters. So a couple years passed. COVID happened. I moved out here to Massachusetts, and I was at the Magic Wings in Greenfield. Is it Greenfield?
It's in Deerfield, yeah.
Okay, Deerfield. Another friend, a close friend, was visiting me out here, and we went to this butterfly place, and it was just like incredible. Like you feel like you're in a Disney movie. They're flying all around. Right?
You have to be really careful not to accidentally step on them when they land on the ground.
So we're there, and it had been 2 years since my friend Leah had passed, and a butterfly comes over and lands on my heart. And I was like, whoa. And it just stayed there. And I got it's like this warm feeling come over me, and I could smell her scent and hear her voice. I looked at my friend, and she's just crying. That butterfly stayed on me for 58 minutes.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't care what you think you believe in, but then when something so profound happens, you're like, I don't believe I know. And so I was so moved, and we're crying. We're like The only 2 black women in the whole place, they were crying. People were walking around. It's like, okay, we're not sure about that. They left us alone, so we're sobbing, and I got a butterfly on my chest. Finally, we get it together. The butterfly's off. She and I were just like, oh, like we didn't even need to talk about it. We knew this profound thing had happened. And so as you leave the sanctuary, there's the gift shop, and they sell the wings in little envelopes, like probably like 20 wings in there. And so I just picked up a pack, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. And then I started going back there to grieve. It just felt like a beautiful place, and it never happened again, but it made me feel close to my friend. So I would just pick up a pack every time I went. And then I think about a year later, my father died. So what happens when you lose people, when another person dies, it's like a compounded grief, right? So I was really in it. I was just feeling so sad, and I had art materials, I had glue, I had felt, and I started to do art. And I made a portrait of my friend as an angel. I had all these wings, and I used blue morpho wings, and rice paper, which is a white and black winged butterfly. Anyway, I made this beautiful portrait that was dedicated to Leah. And then I started having dreams of people who died. And some people I knew, and a lot of people I didn't. It felt like I was moving through history. And I'd wake up, it would be like a nightmare. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was a little girl. She was dressed in rags. Was she on a plantation? Like, what was that about? And then the dreams would keep coming to me, and then I would have to sketch them. But they'd keep coming until I could make another portrait. And so my first series are called On the Wings of Ancestors. They're portraits made all of butterfly wings. They're set on black felt. There's a saying in African spirituality that you're doing the bidding of your ancestors. And that's what I felt like I was doing. I just came back from Sag Harbor at this incredible event called Creatives of Color. And of course, when I'm in any art exhibition, people are like, a butterfly wings? How? Why? Do you kill them? Are you a hunter?
But that is not how you get them. You ethically sourced butterfly wings.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's an unusual medium, and it takes a lot of patience and time because they're butterfly wings. I can't just go to Michael's. I have to wait. It can take 2 years to get enough wings to create a portrait.
Has anything about your stories changed now that you've shifted coasts?
I don't think so. I find New Englanders to be different than Californians. However, they're open, they're very receptive, in general, pretty liberal. And so I don't feel like I have to tone things down or shift it so much. I feel like I tell the same way.
Talk about writing your book. You are clearly a gifted, oral storyteller. Mm-hmm. Why write it down?
Oh, that's a great question. I have a story. So
No.
So I was, preschool teacher for a long time. And I tell stories to my students. And I had a little boy in my class. His name is Jake Shapiro. Big brown eyes, really blonde hair. And he would always, sit by me when I told stories. And then he went off to kindergarten. And he asked his mom, can Muriel come and tell stories to the whole class? So I came to his kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. I'd always be a guest because he loved, hearing my stories. And even into high school, I wouldn't go to his school anymore, but I would see him and he would come and visit me. So Jake went off to college and he studied art and illustration, graduated college, and he came back to the school. I was at that school for 25 years. Now he's 1.5 feet taller than me. He's a man, right? And he's like, hi, Teacher Muriel, you remember me? I was like, Jake, yes. And telling me about school. It was so nice to see him. It's always nice when the students return, as big people. And he says, well, there's something I'd like to talk to you about. And can I take you for coffee? I was like, oh, what a grown-up thing to ask. So I was like, what? I said, yes, that was wonderful. But I was curious. So we get to the cafe, and I noticed he had a little briefcase. And he says, I love your stories. And there's a story that you tell about these birds in Cuba. And I said, yeah. He says, I just envision what it looks like. And I said, yeah. He says, all right, I'm going to tell you. I said, tell me what? He says, my dream is to make a book with you. I want to illustrate the book. I want us to do collaborate and do a book together. I was like, what? And he says, yeah, I love that story so much. He unzips the briefcase and he has all these gorgeous pictures of the story that I tell. what he visualized. He had illustrated it already.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And so that's how I came to create that book. It was really from him as a student. He inspired me. I mean, he did all the work, really, but I put the words together.
The book is called We Sing Like This. It's available at forherstories.com if you're interested in seeing that. And if you want to hear more stories from our guest, Muriel Johnson, you can come to the APE Gallery in Northampton this Saturday, August 8th, a one-night-only chance to take in the performance Fredella May's Daughter is a Storyteller. And we have been joined by Fredella May's daughter, Muriel Monique Johnson, artist, author, butterfly enthusiast, and amazing storyteller.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Not just telling stories.
Find tickets to Muriel's Night of Storytelling, Fredella May's Daughter is a Storyteller, either through the APE Arts website or with a quick search on Eventbrite.
And speaking of events, there's one coming that is supporting 2 local music venues with one race/walk/relay. But don't worry, at the end, there's food.
We'll hear from Claudia Pasmani of The Drake and Chris Freeman of the Iron Horse about the upcoming Miles for Music fundraiser next.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar in Hatfield, offering personalized solar energy solutions and ongoing customer care, proudly serving communities throughout the Pioneer Valley. Northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. Miles for Music supports 2 beloved nonprofit venues, the Drake in Amherst and the Iron Horse in Northampton. While many people know these spaces as places to experience great live music, fewer may realize that both are nonprofit organizations working to keep music, artists, and community gathering spaces strong in the Valley.
When music venues thrive, our downtowns thrive. Live music brings people into restaurants, shops, and small businesses, supports local jobs, and creates the kind of energy that makes our communities really feel alive.
Miles for Music is part of a broader valley-wide effort to strengthen our shared musical ecosystem, to support downtown vitality, and build deeper collaboration between Amherst and Northampton, which this will prove. People of Northampton and people of Amherst, it really isn't that hard to go one way or the other over that bridge.
Hard
Come
or
on.
that far, y'all.
Yes.
With us to talk about this effort are the executive directors of the Iron Horse in Northampton and the Drake in Amherst, Chris Freeman and Claudia Pasmani, respectively. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We've been really lucky to work with both the Iron Horse and the Drake over the few years of the history of this show.
Begging them to let their respective musicians come and be with us first.
Yes, which is really fun. We were there on the opening day of the Renaissance of the Iron Horse a few years back. Claudia, you've been in previously with your other role when you were with MLK Family Services, but you also have a long history with the Chamber in Amherst, and you're Ms. Amherst in some ways, in my opinion. To talk about, this is a new role for you and for the Drake in general, your new role there, right?
It is. It is a new role. I'm going to hats off to Gabrielle Gould, who was our founder, has continued to be a volunteer extraordinaire, currently our board chair, but sustaining it with incredible founding supporters who, again, as you said, we are a nonprofit, and they have stayed the course with us, but she has really led the way, but it was time to reinvent, and being a volunteer full-time and working full-time, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Right? And the Drake is growing. We're both, the Iron Horse, we're both so vibrant. It was time.
I feel like I want to talk with both of you a little bit before we get into the fundraiser itself about that shift to nonprofit for a lot of music venues. We're seeing it kind of all over the place. Arts organizations that used to be more in for-profit sector, quote unquote, not that they made a whole lot of profit to begin with, but are more specifically nonprofit now. What makes that more sustainable for a community, having those arts organizations become nonprofits?
Well, I think, like you said, there were for-profit businesses, but they were mission-based businesses in many ways. We were talking about Signature Sounds and the Parlor Room, which is what our nonprofit grew out of. And, they were running Green River Festival and the Parlor Room because they loved music. And it was the thing that drew me to Northampton, was the energy around that. So I think that nonprofit is really just a tax classification, but the mission-based part of it has always been there, but adding that classification to it does make it more sustainable. We're able to we're able to have donors, we're able to offer tax deductions, and really show that there's no breadwinner except for the communities themselves, which we always will reinvest the money that we make back into music and making a stronger community.
You can also apply for grants in ways that you can't if you are a for-profit business, and there's less risk overall. If you're a nonprofit and your nonprofit fails, you're not necessarily on the hook in the same way as if you started a corporation.
Right. The Iron Horse renovation could have never happened as a for-profit because there was no pathway to pay off the renovation that cost $1.6 million other than the community coming together to make this happen. So
yeah, and everyone who really likes those bathrooms needs to say thank you every
yes.
time.
Or think about becoming a member or making a contribution. And I'll fully disclose that I lead a nonprofit arts organization.
And I guess this is the point where I disclose that I am actually on the board of the Parlor Room, but that's not why we're doing this.
Thank you for your service.
Not why we're doing it, but it is part of the effort around this whole event. Feels like that's where we are all participating in our own ways to try to keep the arts vibrant.
Right. But I think back to that question is it also allows us to be nimble as a nonprofit and to build collaborations like this and make it work. And you'll see the bridge as part of our logo for Miles for Music. And yes, when wearing my chamber hat a couple years back, I would always say, let's cross that bridge, because a bridge was always built to connect us, not to divide us. And there are a lot of folks who use it as a divider. So as corny as it sounds, I'm going to stick with it. And when Chris presented that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's my vision realized. But the fact that this can connect 3 towns, but unite us under one arc, that is the us all going all in, putting all the miles in for the music.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
And
it is Miles for Music, and it's going from the Drake to the Iron Horse, or
Pretty
the Iron
much.
Horse to the Drake.
It's going from the Drake to the Iron Horse this year.
And then I've heard rumor that if this happens again, you may switch course and go the other way.
And reverse course,
yeah.
right.
And you mentioned we've talked about Amherst, we've talked about Northampton, and the other town that you will go through is Hadley, and there is a midway stop in Hadley that's participating in this as well.
The Quarters!
The Quarters, which is
Thank you, the Quarters.
Yes, and a lot of the folks behind the Quarters are part of the, either the nonprofit arts scene at Amherst Cinema or, other places, even though that is...
Connected.
We are all connected. The Quarters, I don't think is a nonprofit, but it's got that similar mission-driven vibe. They're the arcade. Yes. They do all sorts of fun.
They're very community invested.
Yeah, and it's fun because if you go to the Quarters, you are 5 miles away from the Drake, but a 5K away from the Iron Horse.
Ish, but yes.
Who's counting?
But who's counting?
Yeah. Only the runners themselves are
Right.
counting.
The true runners.
Yes. Speaking of the true runners, why a run? Why a walk and a run as a fundraiser base? Why?
Walking fundraisers are so stupid.
But
support the March for the Food Bank.
We are saying that as two people who do not genuinely enjoy running.
Yeah.
Says the person who walks for 2 days.
That's true.
He's walking, not running.
Yeah, I am not. But you can walk this one.
You
too.
can absolutely walk this one as well. And I mean, I know for me personally, these are my 2 loves. I am a runner. I love doing the races up at the dog park in Northampton on Tuesday nights, and I love the trail races on Mount Tom. And so that scene around here is really strong, and so is the music scene. And to bring the 2 together just felt natural to me. And also, like, why do I love the music scene? I love music, yes, but really I love seeing people come together around a common thing and have a shared experience. And that's what music provides every night, and that's what runs provide and walks provide and all of these things. So, like, we're obviously not the only running fundraiser going on, but they are all really meaningful, I think, shows of support for people doing mission-based work.
It also feels cool that you're running from one place to another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hate, you know what? The only reason I get through the food bank march is because I know this is the beginning point, MLK Family Services, where you used to work, Claudia, and then we're going to end in downtown Greenfield. it feels like you're going with a destination in mind. And so the destination is one of these venues. It's great. And I think that's good.
And it also allows us to fundraise. I think that's the really fun part of it, like adding the fun and fundraising, right? But it's because we're bringing community. Runners are being supported, right? And so not only are runners kind of engaging, but they're bringing other community members with them who are supporting them and encouraging them and really supporting the music. So for us, I think it is so much bigger than just the runners, and so it's a way to not just sponsor, not just excite the runners of our communities, which we know we are aplenty, but to really engage the larger community around the music. And that's really sort of the most exciting, right? The heartbeat.
And speaking about exciting people about the music, you're going to have music along the route too, right?
Yes.
Are we allowed to talk about are there like pop-up performances that you'll run by?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be we're not announcing who it'll be along the route, but there'll be musical surprises along the way, and this will be the race that you can still listen to music even without your headphones. That's our.
So are the musicians going to run alongside the runners, or
No.
are you only going to hear the music?
No.
You're just going to have to run it and
hear
sing
for 1
or
second.
walk it.
Well, that was a great 1 second of Peter Mulvey or whatever,
That's when you'll take your break.
That's when you walk. Or we're going to jog in place for a little while, I guess. If you want to.
It's an incentive not to win.
But there are winners. I mean, this is a timed race with winners in different categories and things like that, right?
Yes, there are all different kinds of winners. In
a very Northampton way?
Of course, yes.
Okay, good.
And Amherst. But there are fundraising winners, there are running winners,
Right.
there's different age group winners, and there's fundraising teams that can come together. So, there's all different ways to get to. And the prizes are pretty cool. The top fundraising team gets like a free VIP party at the Iron Horse or the Drake that's connected to a show, and there's a T-shirt for everybody who raises over $100. We have these really nice shirts that we're going to be giving out to fundraisers. So all sorts of fun prizes and stuff that will come along with it.
We mentioned that it ends with food, but we didn't mention why it ends with food. Can you talk about where the race really ends?
This is exciting.
It ends at Taste of Northampton. Day 2 of Taste of Northampton. It loops right on the bike path and then goes right up on Brewster Court in front of Northampton Brewery and out to where we'll have 2 stages of music at Taste and 30 plus restaurants all around the Armory Street lot there. So it'll be really fun. We're going to be announcing the lineup of musicians there really shortly, and hopefully, bringing runners will get a $10 food voucher with their registration, and so we're really trying to put a lot of money into the restaurants that are going to be there at Taste of Northampton and get as many people cheering and supporting the community and the restaurant scene as possible.
We're talking about Miles for Music, which will take place on Sunday, September 13th. Registration is open now, though, for Miles for Music, and we're talking with the 2 leaders of the 2 organizations that this will benefit, Claudia Pazmani from the Drake and Chris Freeman from the Iron Horse. So are you just going to split this money 50-50 when it's all said and done? Is that how it's going to work? Is that how cooperative are nonprofit, non-competitive musical venues that span this 8-mile run are working together?
Yes. I firstly, I want to give a shout out. Chris's team is taking the lead on this, and their team is rocking it in terms of organizational and structure. And we're supporting every aspect we can in terms of logistics and really making sure our launch is exciting and fun. We want to put the fun in a fun run, really make it right. We want to make it memorable. We want you to come back. But I think most importantly, you talked about economic vibrancy. We're not just about arts and culture. We're about bringing economic vibrancy. And that run into the Taste, we're investing, those $10 coupons, we're winning to 500 runners. We're halfway there. We're nearly halfway there with 218 registered. Mm-hmm. So please, if you haven't registered, we're on RunReg. So get registered now, because those $10 coupons, that's $5,000 investment in the Taste. So again, we're here not only to bring the artists to the stage, right, but also bring folks to our communities and bring them to our local businesses.
And it's worth noting, if you haven't lived here for a long time, that the Drake was an historic bar that was given a new name and a new resurgence to downtown Amherst, which never really had a great music venue ever. The Iron Horse, an icon of music across the country, really, that shuttered after, like, right around the pandemic and wondered if it would ever open again, has been brought back by Renaissance. The Taste of Northampton went away for a very long time, and it's now back. So there is this resurgence that is fomenting, and it's because of the commitment of a lot of the folks and because of the idea of a nonprofit model that we could band together as a community and make excellent things happen.
If you hit that goal of 500 runners, can you take more than 500 runners should the people arrive?
We think so.
8 miles is a long stretch, and you're all on the bike path the whole way, right? Is that basically it? It's gonna go the whole bike path the whole way?
Yeah, it starts right on the Amherst Town Common, and it gets right on the bike path right there. You go down the hill and then get on the bike path. There's a beautiful stretch that goes for about 1.5 miles there that is just gorgeous, quiet, trees, birds. And then, on the bike path all the way over the bridge into Northampton, looping around and finishing right there on Brewster Court.
In the future, can I bike it instead? I will bike a race. I will not run a race.
You could walk it.
I will give people money to walk.
Okay, that's the other way. That's
We
the
will
other
help
way
you
to
with
do
that.
it too.
But if I'm allowed to take my bike, I would
Support my team.
Well, before we let you go, Claudia from the Drake and Chris from the Iron Horse, tonight at the Drake, Thursday, August 6th, the AOS Bird Band Jam, which this is so fun, the American Ornithological Society getting together to play music.
They're going to hear us tomorrow night. We're playing their closing ceremony.
All right. Well, that's cool. And then at the Iron Horse, coming up tonight is a band that we've had here on the show and was very much involved in the Green River Festival. I got to do the New Orleans Second Line Parade with them this last year at the Green River
our
Festival.
only local band that's from New Orleans.
It really, it's very
that currently
true.
lives in New Orleans. But Sally Baby Silver Dollars is at the Iron Horse tonight, and they've played many times. They've played Back Porch this year. They played Green River this year, and in January, they were a member discovery series for us. So it's amazing to watch this Ascendancy. It's already sold out, so come tomorrow
My son
night.
has a ticket.
Oh, that's good. Well,
They're delightful.
So talk about collaboration.
They're wonderful live.
We're here
Get
for
on
one
it
another.
next time.
yes, and we'll leave you with the music of Sally Baby Silver Dollars. So hopefully you have a ticket. And if not, you can listen to them right now. We've been joined by Claudia Pausmani of the Drake in Amherst and Chris Freeman of the Iron Horse in Northampton. Miles for Music is happening Sunday, September 13th. You can go to either of those organizations' websites and figure out how to sign yourself up to participate to keep the arts and economic viability of our downtowns vibrant.
And we will also link to it in our show notes should you listen to the podcast as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
On the next Fabulous 413, the Adams Theater, a nonprofit theater in Adams, will join us with the executive director, Yina Moore, talking about their upcoming performances.
We'll also celebrate Kimaya Diggs' new album, which just, I believe, came out today.
No, I think it comes out in October, but she will be
whatever.
at the Emily Dickinson Museum tomorrow, and
Okay.
that's why she's coming on. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Clee Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413. I understand time sometimes.
I ain't nobody's fool.